Hey, what's going on, everyone? Mark Bruce with Fit Strength Performance, and today's topic is going to be about whether or not athletes should jump rope. Now, this is something that is an old school method. It's a calisthenic form of training. It's highlighted in the early stages of training, and this goes back from a very long time. Personal views, or I guess, what is jump roping? That's something that we can identify first. So jump roping, we have our jump rope. We have we're jumping. It's a cyclic motion. We're going over and over and over a jump rope, and it is very tiring. It is somewhat simplistic, but it is advanced. I think that any of you watching this, if you're a parent and you think jump roping is easy, if you're an athlete and you think jump rope is easy, I challenge you to either A, you yourself get a jump rope right now, or you go buy your kid a jump rope right now and ask them to do it. In my 10 years of training athletes, in my 20 years of being an athlete and being around other athletes, I cannot tell you how many athletes cannot jump rope. And a lot of the basic human movements athletes can't do. And that's significant. That's not good, in my opinion. So what are the benefits of jump roping? So when we're jumping over, so first and foremost, to me, the number one benefit of jump roping is coordination. You are using your arms, your legs, your wrists, your ankles, your quad. You're using your entire body and organizing it in a coordinative way. I don't even know if coordinative is a word, but I'm using it. Coordinative, to coordinate everything in unison, to jump over the rope, and to do that repetitively. And if you're someone that's familiar with jump roping, there's so many different variations or different movements or skills or way of jumping over the jump rope, right? You can just jump over on 2 feet. You can do 1 foot. You can alternate. You can go 2 feet. You can do 2 jumps on 1 foot, then alternate 2 jumps on the other foot. You can crisscross. You can do a lot of different tricks with the jump rope, and you need a lot of motor control and intramuscular coordination. You need coordination in general just to achieve the task. You need rhythm, and I'm going to talk about why all those things play a part in athletic development. Next, the important piece of jump roping is foot, ankle, calf strength. You're jumping on your forefoot. You're jumping on the balls of your feet over and over and over again, right? Your calves are going to get tired. So you're strengthening the calves, the soleus. You're strengthening the foot, because your foot has to be in a specific position every single time to be successful. So the faster you get, you're not going to be able to jump on your heels. So eventually, the better you get at jump roping, you're going to be on your forefoot. So that's another piece. And next is going to be stiffness of the foot. So when we talk about speed, when we talk about increasing vertical, increasing ability to change of direction, being a better athlete, athletes need that stiffness. So when you watch someone jump rope who's very quick, right, they're not bending their legs in full flexion. They're not getting off the ground really slow. They have little knee bend. They have they're in dorsal flexion and plantar flexion of the foot. And they're staying in that athletic looking position, and then you are relaxing, contracting, because every time you leave the ground, right, there's nothing on your body's not stabilizing on a surface to have to stiffen up, right? So that's going to be helpful for athletic development. And then the last piece is going to be endurance. Your soleus, your feet, there's slow twitch fibers and also fast twitch fibers. But again, when you're running, walking, you're training the slow twitch idea of your fibers, which is going to be helpful for not only recovery, so if you're playing basketball, or you're a sprinter, you're a football player, you're a tennis player, because you are strengthening these slow twitch fibers, because you're building endurance in this area, that area is not going to get so fatigued. So when we look at this idea of economy, you're increasing your economy in your feet, so you're not spending money elsewhere. So when we look at athletic movement, think of your body, think of, you having a wallet. And the easier movements get, the more money you're acquiring. The harder movements are, the more money you're spending. So if you're someone that doesn't have rhythm, that doesn't have strength in your foot, that fatigues very easily, you're going to spend a lot of money doing basic tasks, like jogging, relaxing, contracting, trying to do something athletically really fast, trying to explode up to get the rebound when timing is important, and sprinting. So if you spend a lot of time doing these basic, innate, humane movements, you're spending money. Instead of, if you jump rope and build strength in your feet, you're building the endurance. What you're doing is you're gaining money, and that becomes easier to do these basic tasks of just, being quick off your feet, being able to bounce, being able to get your feet off the ground fast, not fatiguing. So you're not going to spend money in those you're going to spend money in those more important pieces. So if we're talking about increasing your vertical, right, I want you to spend way more money generating power, creating force, and then applying that force very fast to achieve the task, instead of just, being able to balance and stabilize with your heels slightly off the ground, right? That is very important. But if you're an athlete that can't do that, you're spending so much money focusing on that one task in order to jump. So to recap the benefits of jump roping, number one, coordination. Number two, you are strengthening your foot complex, your soleus. Number three, you're creating stiffness in the lower extremities, even in the upper extremities, right? You don't want to be floppy with the arms. And then number four, you're increasing your endurance, your stamina from your lower half, which will help you when it comes to running, jogging, sprinting, jumping. So those are the benefits of jump roping. So, if someone asks me, should I jump rope? Then yes, I think you should. I think it's great. I don't think it's a mentality of, jump roping is not going to get me to jump higher, so I shouldn't do it. Number one, for athletes, movement is key. Doing a acyclical thing over and over again, like if you're a basketball player and you only like jumping off your left leg, so you only play basketball, so that means you're only going to jump off your left leg, because you're not practicing on jumping off your right leg, so you don't want to fail, so you're not going to do that. Doing this acyclical kind of thing, the same thing over and over and over again, is not good for athletes. That's how you get hurt. So jump roping becomes a cyclical motion that you can, change it up. Right? You can go off 1 foot, 2 feet. You can go for time. You can go for long bouts, right? So you could improve your overall endurance, your aerobic capacity. It could be intertwined with rest periods during strength training sessions. It improves your footwork. So you will be better when it comes to change of direction and agility and all that stuff. So I think jump roping should be in an athlete's program every single week. I personally jump rope before every time, when I was younger, probably starting in 9th or 10th grade, before every practice and every game, I jump rope, whether it was 250 times or 500 times, it got my heart rate up. And I think that's something that athletes, they don't do enough, and coaches don't prescribe it enough, to be blunt, sport coaches. If your team did 500 jump ropes before they stepped foot on the court, they would move better 100% when they're in their warm-ups, because they got their heart rate up, because they, they're working on the same motion that's going to be necessary to be good in their game. Now, in this conversation of will jump roping itself improve vertical as well as speed, or strength, or power? I don't think just doing that will do it. Research shows that you need other forces, you need other things to be a better jumper, to be faster. Can it be a piece of the puzzle? Absolutely. Can this be involved in your program? Absolutely. If you are a novice, if you're a 5th grader, if you are a 6th, 7th, 8th, if you're a young athlete and you start jump roping, can that make you faster and jump higher? Yes. But once you reach a certain point of your ability, right, so your body gets smart. The more you jump rope, the easier it becomes for your body. So then you need another stimulus. So if you're someone that's like, listen, I'm going to be left on an island for the next 5 years and I want to increase my vertical, what could I do? But I'm only going to bring a jump rope, right? So you could focus on jump roping as fast as you possibly can in 1 minute and just over time increase that, right? That's going to change the stimulus. Next, double jumps, right? You could do double jumps, because what you then are training is your strength, your reaction strength, your strength, reaction strength, your RSI, your reactive strength index. Sorry, I had a brain fart. So with that, right, you do double jumps. You're just learning how to jump high with minimal knee bend, so you'll then become better jumping off the ground. So once you reach that certain point, for me, it's going to be more of a conversation with the athlete. So if an athlete asks me, hey coach, I've been jump roping a ton and I'm not sure if it's helping me anymore. Well, I'm going to say, well, how about do you remember a time where you tried to jump and you couldn't get the backboard, and now what can you do now? And so, I get the backboard now. Great, keep jump roping then. Because then you want to test and retest. So in 4 weeks, if you only jump rope and then you jump again and you got the same height, well, there you plateaued. So no longer is the stimulus of the jump rope going to help. So what most athletes need is to get stronger. So when we look at being able to run high, run faster, jump higher, it's about applying force into the ground, but then utilizing that force in a fast, powerful way to redirect it. So if you think of physics, any action will have a reaction. So if you have an action into the ground, if you put force into the ground and you apply a lot of force into the ground, there's going to be another reaction. So if you're an athlete that's not strong and you go to jump and you don't put enough force into the ground, you're only going to jump so high simply because you just can't put force in the ground. So that's where, yes, jump rope, but then you need strength training. So then you need to improve the ability to put force into the ground. So that's from from a novice, intermediate, so 7th, 8th, or 9th grader, get stronger. Goblet squats, reverse lunges, box squats, progressing accordingly. So it would be goblet box squats, goblet squats. To me, I love just going to the safety bar, but then you can do a front rack, you can do a front squat, a back squat, then you can transition into a single leg squat. And then a trap bar, so learn how to apply force into the ground and be consistent at it. So with jumping and sprinting, there's a lot of factors that come into play with jumping and sprinting. If you're in middle school, right, you're not going to reach your potential until you hit puberty, until you start getting testosterone in your blood, because that's going to be a huge game changer when you start strength training. And then also what you're doing outside of, strength training and jump roping. If you're playing sports, that's going to help you. But again, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get better at that same thing, but it may not necessarily help you, get faster or jump higher. So with that being said, once you're strong enough, then you learn how to apply that amount of force, but faster. So from a basic continuum of training, a periodization model, for athletes, it's like, very basic. Phase 1, whether it's 7th grade or 9th grade, is going to be, get strong, learn the basics. Goblet squats, trap bar deadlifts, load it. Let's work on stability. Let's, apply power using basic plyometrics. Plyometrics are a great way to teach an athlete how to, stiffen up and to apply force into the ground. And then phase 2, if it's a year later, right, we're going to focus on strength. Strength, relative strength, absolute strength. So again, relative to your body weight, because the older you get, you're going to gain weight. Then we're going to transition into, let's go, if we're going trap bar deadlift, instead of going for 3 sets of 6, we're going for 4 sets of 4. And then we're going to go to, 5 sets of 3, building up to that relative strength. And then the older you get, now once I see that you've hit a certain load on that movement, that exercise, and we're seeing progress, then we start to see, all right, can you lift, 1.5 to 1.9 times your body weight in these movements? If you can, all right, now we have to move lighter load faster. And now we've built this base, we've built this engine, and now we can really reach the athlete's potential. So, original question, is jump roping good? 100% coordination, motor control, intramuscular coordination. All athletes need it. If you don't have it, you're not checking off those boxes of, being a healthy athlete and being less prone to an injury, and that'll help you then, be faster and jump higher, right? You're strengthening your ankles, you're strengthening your calves, you're stiffening up, you're building endurance in the lower extremities, which is very helpful for injury prevention, running faster, jumping higher. So I think jump roping is great, but you have to add in more because that's one piece of the puzzle. And then, the last thing that's really that, some people just have to understand is genetics. Genetics plays a huge role in whether or not you can jump high. So if you look at Zion Williamson, this man stepped into Duke jumping 46 inches. What did Duke do? Well, they looked at what he can do, what he can naturally produce, and they tried to balance it. They tried to say, like, hey, you load eccentrically so well. We need to give you something else so you're not getting hurt while doing this, repetitive motion. They may have looked at it and said, listen, you are 20 pounds overweight, so we don't need to help you jump higher. We need you to lose weight simply because when you jump 50 inches in the air and land, you're landing with that 260 pounds times 3, so that's stressing your joints aggressively. So we need you to lose some weight. So that's where genetics plays a huge role for speed, for plyometrics, for jumping. Doesn't mean that if, I've had an athlete who started with me at 21, 22 inches, and in a year and a half, right, he's at 28 inches. So that is, a 4-inch jump in the first year, and then a 4-inch jump in almost the next, 6 months. So that's where we built strength. We were teaching him how to be stiff. We worked on movement. We checked off a lot of boxes, and now he's able to, find that genetic ability to jump higher because, genetically, I don't know if he is going to be like a 38-inch jumper, but, I think most athletes can get above 30 if they train appropriately, consistently from middle school to the end of their high school age. So I hope that helped. This is a long video, but again, it's a super important topic. I get asked it a lot. I hope you take some stuff away. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share with a teammate, with a coach, someone who has the same question and is looking for the same results. Take care, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Bye.